Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. It is a new week, and we are starting the second week of June. We are into the summertime, and we are almost, no, yeah, to the halfway point of the year. Can you believe it? Almost to the halfway point of the year. I can't believe it. This year has flown by. Then again, being bombarded with drama the whole year has been, I guess, an easy way for the process to move along quickly. So, yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel about it. However, I am in fact hopeful that the second half of this year will be better than the first. So, hopefully, you join me in that sentiment. So, just some catching up for myself. I did not give the weight loss efforts 100%, and I'm going to tell you why. One, because for me, I could care less about being skinny. I don't like myself when I'm skinny. I would prefer to be healthy, and I'm okay with being thick for some, but I do want to feel confident and comfortable in the clothes that I wear. And I say that because I've had my fupa, my mom belly, since after my first daughter at 17. So I have been trying to hide that my whole adult life. And I have not yet to have a hot girl summer where I'm not trying to hide my mom belly. Granted, I could just say, I'm beautiful and it doesn't matter. But I'm not wired that way. So even when I told y'all, even when I went through a medical weight loss program and lost almost 50 pounds, I was skinny, but I still had the mom belly. So I've come to accept that if I focus on being skinny and weight loss, that's not going to be the fulfillment that I am seeking. What I really need to do is have surgery to have all that extra skin and everything removed. However, that does not negate the necessity for me to get my weight down, at least to under 200 pounds. So, my goal is to get down under 200 before the end of the year. Currently, I'm at 223, and I literally hovered at like 210 for a long time. And then this past month or so is when I kind of blew up and gained that additional 10, 15 pounds. And if you know, it's not that easy to lose 10 or 15 pounds. And if you're already overweight and you do lose quickly at the beginning, that's still not like significant accomplishment, right? So that's my goal, and it's not to try to work myself out to death. It's not trying to do all these great grand things because I know how to do it that way. I know how to alternate day fast. It comes off like that. As soon as you start eating every day again, it comes right back on. I'm not excited to work out, so trying to overwork out is not going to work for me either, even though what I learned last time I lost the weight was that it's definitely 80% what you put in your mouth, more so than the exercise. So I am fully aware of these things, and for me, I understand that it's more so my perspective and how I look at this. So that's my updated goal for weight loss by the end of 2025 is to get under 200. Honestly, my ultimate weight goal is like 175, which when I was in the army, I was at what, like 132? But I was also in my early 20s with 2 kids. Now I have 4 in my 40s. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this point as far as that's concerned. As far as business, we are starting the Unmasked series this week. Woo woo! Praise the Lord. Y'all, I've been working on this all weekend, all past week. And ever since the concept came to me when I was preparing for that speech at the Cosplay Hearing Theory, man, when I tell you I'm excited because more and more I see how we need this. I need this. I need a space to unmask amongst the community. And I know others do too. And when I did the event a couple of weeks ago, a lot of the responses I received during the speech were women that were exhausted from wearing the mask of the strong one, or I'm fine, or the happy one, got it all together one. We're tired. And that's not God's will for us to live consistently in this state. It's for us to wake up and realize this is an issue that we need to address. So that's what we're going to do in Unmask. Before that, though, I am actually getting ready to film the first training video. But I want to talk to y'all about something that popped out to me during my time. Can y'all see that these are already falling? Oh my goodness. So I did the same thing all around, and this side is falling and this side is still chilling. And I wear my bonnet outside while taking Chai walking, hoping that I could stop the humidity from messing it up before I get on camera. But as you can see, all right, it is what it is, y'all. We're just gonna push it back. All right. What hopped out to me is this concept of sacred interdependence. Now, you have codependency. You have independence. So what do you think interdependence means? Go ahead. I'll wait. Interdependence is where you are both mutually benefiting each other and relying on each other, holding each other accountable, and having a thriving collaboration between the two, where the two come into this relationship equal, seen as equal. That's interdependence. Obviously, with codependency, that's someone that's attaching to someone else, and one is feeding the other, as opposed to a mutual, let's feed each other type situation. That sounds kind of weird because it sounds like a parasite. But codependency is pretty much kind of like a parasitic relationship. Independence is, I don't need nobody. I got this, which is a mask, a facade that we wear, mostly because we are afraid to trust someone else to hold us accountable. I am speaking truth right there because that was me. Independence is not a terrible thing because you want to have self-sufficiency and self-confidence, right? The problem with independence is that we were not created to be an island. We were not created to be a one-woman tribe. So if you are independent, you are not acknowledging the communal aspect of our blessings as a whole. And I'm almost positive that is what is wrong, has been wrong with the Black community. Now, granted, back in November, let's go back for a little bit, y'all. I know it's painful. But let's just go back for a second. When you saw those numbers, how did you feel? I'm going to speak personally and responses I've seen on TikTok about this and my own personal circle. We had each other. And how many of us were told over and over again that Black people could not truly be a community and stand together? Now, granted, we do have some. Okay? I ain't got to say no names because y'all already know. But I think after that, we realized that Black men and Black women, for the most part, we stand together, which means we are, in fact, a community. Okay? And how did our ancestors and our elders survive during times of drama and trauma? How? Community. Whether it was through the church, through organizations like the Black Panther Party. We stood together, we educated each other, we empowered each other, we encouraged each other, we uplifted each other, we supported each other. How did something like Black Wall Street thrive, or Auburn Avenue in Atlanta? Because Black people were supporting and investing in Black people. That's what we have to do now. Not just 4, 5, 6 months ago, because things started looking crazy around us and they started trying to strip away our history and our existence. But because moving forward, it's that communal aspect that's going to bring greater healing to our communities, to the generations to come, to the generations that have been forgotten, right? That's something that we need to do. And no matter how you slice it, the Black woman is the backbone of the Black community, right? So that's why we need Black women to be healthy and healed and unmask and stand in their beautiful, amazing, strong, powerful, authentic selves. How do we do that? We practice interdependence. Now, granted, interdependence starts with John 15:5, like we talked about last week. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So that interdependence has to start with our Creator. And then that interdependence has to go outward, right? And we're not talking about leeches. We're not talking about parasites. We're not talking about taking and not giving. We're talking about a mutuality where everyone is benefiting as a whole, from before us to ahead of us. That's how we have to think. Just this unmasking process for any woman would yield the ability to affect others differently, because we are influential and we are impactful. It just is what it is, whether that's good or bad. But when we take personal responsibility and decide to show up in the world different, to show up healed, to show up whole, to show up with a community mindset, to show up authentically, healthy and non-toxic, that's going to make a huge difference in those that we interact with before and those we interact with after. So I want us to think about this, because based off of the history of this country, probably worldwide, the dominant culture that was thrust upon everyone is about individualism and capitalism, founded on greed and selfishness, right? Which means you're automatically going to have discrimination and inequality and injustice. Not to say that our indigenous communities and ancient African communities, not to say that they didn't have problems, but they did very much so function with this perspective and mind space of community. And that was stripped from us as we were thrown into, I know people don't like this word, but the colonizing state of things. So I want us to think about that today. And this other concept came to mind too. Have you watched The Playbook? I think it's called The Playbook on Netflix. So the Playbook, I think it's called The Playbook, y'all. It does interviews with different coaches across different sports. And the one that stood out to me the most was Doc Rivers, obviously, basketball coach. And he talked about what was game changing for him, life changing, was this concept of Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Y'all look up Ubuntu if you've never heard of it. But basically, it's about operating as a collective. It's an African term, I believe South African. I'd have to research it. But Ubuntu is basically about us having a collective coming together, right? So instead of just trying to lose weight on your own without asking for help or having at least community to support you in it and hold you accountable, you struggle with starting and stopping all the time because you don't want anyone to hold you accountable. But what happens? You're basically just allowing yourself to stay in a space of incompletion because we are incomplete without each other because everyone brings something different. When it comes to business, same thing. If you are going to run a successful business, somebody has to be willing to buy or invest in whatever it is that you're selling. So, ultimately, you need people. What is a celebrity without fans? What is a musician or an artist without those that are willing to invest in their arts? What is a coach without people that want to be coached in whatever way? Through books, through content, through one-on-ones, through group sessions, through speaking engagements. Either way, people want to receive those services from you. So, this concept of sacred interdependence and Ubuntu, I think I'm going to stay there this week and study it out some more. And then I'll share with y'all how we're going. Now, I did go through my usual process this morning. I actually have some new grounding affirmations that I'm going to be sharing in this Sisters Unbothered Substack for those that are actually a part of the series. And I did have my 30 before 30 and my water and my supplements, and I did walk chai. I have not exercised yet. And I may not this morning because I need to do some recording. But I assure you all, I will do my best to get back on track. Oh, and update, I am at my desk. I did start. Okay, I'm going to have to pull out the shredder and shred some mail to truly say that I cleaned it. But I did clear space. You can see the desk again. So I am going to say I deserve applause just for at least starting because I was working all weekend. Alrighty. Well, I appreciate y'all, and I hope you have a great day. Not because it just automatically happens that way, but because you are intentional about it. All right, talk to you later. Bye.